my daughter actually, and I went through a period of just, depression, and that was linked to postnatal depression. And for me, because I'm somebody that's very, I like to speak about things.
My home, I've got 2 teenage daughters, right. And as a parent, it's very important for me to actually recognize the signs.
Yeah.
You've got young girls
hearing voices, or I've been struggling with my mental health, or I'm having very unsafe thoughts, and you're thinking, where do you go? Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm Primrose.
I'm Akaya.
I'm Linda.
And this is 3 Sides to This.
Hi.
How are you?
Every time we say that, I always think, are we supposed to say something after that? It's literally like we say it together, don't we?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi girls. How are you?
How's it going?
Listen, I was feeling quite nervous
today. Why?
I don't know.
What happened?
I don't know. I think probably it's the journey, because obviously
because it's quite far, isn't it?
We're recording this early in the morning.
Yeah.
That whole, I don't know, if you commute in London,
it's crazy. Yeah.
So just getting here today, I was just like, oh, I don't know whether it's because I've had 2 coffees, so I'm a bit hyper.
Did you feel a bit anxious?
Oh, yes, I was feeling a little bit anxious, but not because of anything bad, but just the unknown, like how is the day going to be,
and stuff,
and things like that. So I was feeling a little bit anxious, and when I saw you guys, I was like, okay, cool.
But it's nice though, when we come together, and I think when we were speaking the other day as well, it's like, we're just like, okay, we're nervous, but when we come together, it just all works out, isn't it?
It works out.
Yeah.
It just flows.
It does.
How are you?
I'm good. Just tired.
Tired?
I've got a cough or cold, whatever it is at this point, but I feel great.
Good.
Yeah.
Aya?
I'm good. I think my travels this morning was, it's just because now it's hot, isn't it? So it's hot.
Yeah.
Trying to travel on the underground is just something else, honestly. There's so many people, and it's morning, and everyone is just, clumped together. I'm just like, this is not me. And because I work from home, so for me, it's like getting on underground is like, it's something that's just luxury. Do you know what I mean? Like when I need to go out for leisure, not for work. So when I do it, I'm like, okay, we mean business. But it was all right. It was a journey, but it wasn't too bad. So
London is always tricky anyway for traveling. And I think just tapping into feeling anxious and being all over the place, it then kind of goes into today's topic around mental health and what that looks like. Because I think if I was to tell my mom I feel so anxious and I've got anxiety, she'll probably be looking at me like, what are you talking about? So obviously today we're going to be talking about mental health and the stigmas around that, whether it's in workplaces,
that's a good topic,
families, or anything. What do you kind of understand about mental health? When you hear the word mental health, what comes to your mind?
Me.
Yes, you.
What do you mean, me?
What comes to your mind?
For me, I think I'm not quite sure, but I think a clinical definition of it, it's something to do with the functioning of your brain,
right?
And how you process things and how your brain can be affected by certain things, such as maybe your environment, relationships, whatever it is that's going on in your life.
Yeah, I would say I'll probably echo what Linda just said. And I think it's, because we have to remember that each and every single one of us has, an element of mental health. We, to survive, to have a brain, it's your mental health, right? Your mind. So when we say mental health, is that we all are affected by it, but I think it's whether your mental health is in a great place or not, and that's a difference. All right, so you have somebody that will have mental health issues,
right.
Whereas mental health is it's a broad thing, because we all have, every single person. If you have a brain, you've got mental health.
Of course, yes.
So so when it comes to, so that's why I understand that mental health is just, like I said, it's the cognitive, it's the function of your brain, but then you can then separate that from mental health issues, and then that's when maybe your brain is not functioning as it should, and then everything else is affected. So how you live your day-to-day life, how you go about, just everything, because your brain is it's like the foundation, and then everything. So it's like a tree, right? So your brain is here, and then everything else is so
you can draw that diagram for us.
If your brain is not, is not functioning, then everything else is just so that's what I understand by that. By that. But yeah.
And I think for me, like this topic is very like close to me. Like for all you, like we spoke about it last time that I lost my sister to suicide last year. So this topic is very close to home, and I think that's why I wanted us to kind of like cover it and dig deep into it, just to understand like why is it we seem to have a lot of increase in mental health. Like just to touch off what you said, it connects with everything. Like I feel like now in our society, in the community, there's a lot of people struggling with jobs, immigration, things, or health, or even touching on what we spoke about last week in terms of managing life, having a special needs child. Do you know what? This actually brings me to something that I was going to talk about. I have one of my mum friends from where my son goes to school, and I bumped into her the other day, and she was like, she came from Nigeria, I think 3 years ago, on one of these COS visas. And she said to me, you know what, Primrose, I've been struggling. I didn't believe that mental health exists until I came into the UK. And she was like, she's found herself just walking her children to school, and sometimes she's talking to herself. Not in a way like she's gone psychotic, but she was like, I feel like I need an outlet. I need to say what I'm going through. And when I ask her like what's causing this, it's things like finances, worried about getting a job, worried about, she's got a special needs son as well, and the impact of that. And it made me feel really, really sad, because it made me realize just how many people within our community that are going through mental health issues. And some of them, they don't even know that they can actually seek help. And they can get help,
But sis, I think it's also people going through mental health, but not being able to recognize that it's a mental health condition that they are they are experiencing.
Right.
Sometimes like little things, like it's not little, but it's anxiety.
Right.
It's not little, because I suffer from anxiety as well sometimes, where you just feel like things are just getting a bit too much,
right?
And the last anxiety attack that I had was on Sunday.
Oh, this Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday just gone. So we had gone out. It was my daughter's birthday, and we had just gone out. Nice restaurant, we're doing really well. We're having a great time, and we got into my brother's car. The minute we got inside the car, I was like, I can't breathe, stop the car. And I literally had to come out of the car and do my breathing work, to calm down and then go back into the car. And I think for me, it's like mine is attached to fear of the unknown. Okay. I was in a new place. I'm in South Africa, and there's all the things that were going on about the match thing, and I just didn't feel safe, and that triggered that anxiety attack. So I think obviously people get affected in different ways. Sometimes people obviously experience mental health for a very long period of time, and sometimes it's like depression, where people don't want to leave the house, or they don't want to be associated with anybody just because of their mental health. But then my question is, how do people actually recognize the symptoms? How
do you even know that
you're going through something
that I'm going through, or this is just normal stress?
And I think with that as well is because, so when we don't speak about things, right? So when we don't speak about things, it's almost like we will never recognize, you know what I mean? Like, so, like for me, and I think, sis, about this, where when I had my son, my daughter actually, and I went through a period of just, depression, and that was linked to postnatal depression. And for me, because I'm somebody that's very, I like to speak about things, but not everybody does. And I recognize that not everyone does, and not everyone feels safe to do that. And I think safety is one of the biggest things, because if you don't feel safe with the people around you, so I think one of the things that I say is, if you don't have a safe space, you can't really pour, out. You can't really, because either you feel judged, by the people around you, whether it's your family, whether it's work, whatever it is. But if you don't feel safe in that environment, you can't speak out, because then you're going to think, okay, what are they going to say? And for me, because I'm quite lucky in the sense that I've always felt like people around me have been, encouraging, and I felt like I can always open up, whether it's friends, whether it's family. And I know that some people don't have that. So I recognize that. So for me, it was like, as soon as I seen it, I was able to recognize, okay, this is what I'm going through. I was able to get, support from prenatal mental health, and just, start on different therapies or whatever it is. But I'm not naive to think, okay, other people that don't have that support, because people don't have family, they don't have friends. So I totally see that. But
But
so
going from what Linda's asking, if you don't mind sharing, how did you know that you were going through something that needed help? How did you know that actually something is not right here? Because some people, they might actually be going through it and they don't know, is this a mental health issue?
Yeah.
Is my brain lying to me?
Let me tell you, when I knew was when I remember, so I came back, so I'll just tell this little story. I came back from when I had my daughter, and it was barely 6 weeks, and I was at home, and I just remember waking up one day, and I had, I just having like these weird thoughts, right? And it's like, this is not me. And they were so intense.
Yeah.
When you now start being scared of your own thoughts, that's when you know
that
something is not right, because that's not you. And if you're uncomfortable, because I've been told when I've been through therapy, I've been told that, you know what, the fact that you can recognize your thoughts and actually be uncomfortable with the thoughts, then that something is not right.
Okay.
Whereas I don't know, but I'm just saying, some people let's say they might go through something and they can recognize, okay, those are not okay, but they might be at peace with that.
Right.
Do you understand?
Okay.
But for me, it's like, I couldn't even sleep. That's how bad it was. For 2 weeks, I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
And these thoughts were just tormenting me to a point where, like, I can't. And it's almost like I was scared of myself.
Yeah.
Right?
Fearful, yeah.
I was so scared of myself where to a point, like, I couldn't sleep because I was thinking, okay, I don't know what I thought was going to happen, but it's like, I was just scared of sleeping. I was scared of just being with myself. So I needed to be around family, friends, because I'm like, please, I need to be around people, because in fact I was like, okay, I need maybe someone to just surround me. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think there's a time that we came to visit you. Me and Belinda came to see you, and you did express one time that we're there that you were having some thoughts. Yeah. And just to say, in that moment, anyone that doesn't know you would never think that that's what you're going through. And I think that's something that's really important to touch on. There is people staying in the same house, married, or they've got their kids in the same home, and someone in that home is struggling with their mental health. Yeah. Someone in that home is hearing voices. Someone in that home is experiencing scary thoughts. Of course. Someone in that home is struggling with sleep for time. Yeah. But they actually feel like, I cannot open up and say this. And say something. Maybe it's because they're in a house where the family are very much, stuck on religion. They believe in God and everything else, and the word mental health is almost like a taboo. And sometimes I feel like that is some of the things that causes a barrier for people to actually access, treatment and get help. And especially stigma. Like, I speak about this a lot on social media, that the stigma that we have, especially around the Black community, the African Caribbean community around mental health, is mainly the reason why a lot of people don't seek help.
That's true.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've experienced that, where, not like on a personal level, but because you're a social worker, you probably come across like cases where, a mom or a dad or children are affected with mental health, but the support just seems very limited from family and friends.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
I think obviously from, within our own culture, right? I think just going back to even when I was a child, if you just pass by and you see somebody on the streets who was acting in a way that, was out of the norm, right? Instead of empathizing with them or trying to help them, you were told, do not approach that person.
Right.
right?
Or label them.
Or,
right?
or you know, you it's like, I don't know, it just goes back to being a child, you know what I mean? It's like you were told, don't go near that person, they might hit you, they might do something to you. And you could tell that, you know, this person definitely does need support. Whereas now, because obviously I've worked in health and social care now for over 20 years, I'm able to recognize the signs. Sometimes when you're walking on the streets, you'll see that clearly somebody is going through a crisis. But I think it's still the same that, you know, mental health is still one of the biggest taboos that we've got within our own, you know, Black and ethnic. You know, it's not only just Black people. I think Asian people as well experience this. That even if somebody has got a mental health issue within the family, right, the family doesn't really understand that. And it's like we don't always use kind words, you know, when somebody is going through a mental health crisis.
So that definitely stops. I think especially the families and friends or close people not using kind words to describe whatever that person is experiencing. Just going back to my sister and the foundation that I created, the Kutse Foundation, most of the messages that I receive from the public is, you keep posting videos about reach out, get support, you know, you are not alone. But I live in a home with my family and I dare tell them, you know, or I've told my family and they're saying, oh, you're being dramatic, or you need to pray a bit more, or, you know, and I think that mentality is so sad. There was a story, I think in London, a dad who his son ended up, you know, taking the life of his wife and the sister.
Oh, wow.
Because he was having a psychosis episode. And the dad, he's been online now trying to spread awareness around mental health. And he was saying how he regrets not, you know, acting fast when the symptoms was occurring. And it just shows just like how much, even though now in the modern times that we're living, where we have so much awareness, we have social media, you would think people know more about mental health. It just shows just how much limited knowledge that people have around that. But I was also going to ask, what do you think is causing this? Like, why do you think there is such a big rise in
regarding
mental health?
So I think for me, and just from what you just said as well, like where there's so much awareness, right? There's all this awareness, but it really comes to the foundation, which is like the home, right? I feel like anything comes, because you have to remember, even like I remember, sis, I don't, you know, if you don't mind me sharing, I saw your post on TikTok, and I was just going through the comments where you're talking about your sister, and I was seeing the people in the comments, they're like, but I don't have somebody to talk to. I don't, like, literally, I was sat there for like a good 30 minutes just reading the comments, and I was so amazed. And these are young women just talking about, I don't have somebody to talk to. And I'm thinking, how is that possible? But these are people, like young women. I think one of them, she's 17. I'm thinking, but don't you have a family?
It's a young age. So I feel like now we're seeing mental health in more
in children,
young people.
So
to me, that just shows that, you know what, it's literally, if young people don't feel comfortable to speak to, you know, if they're growing up in an environment where they don't feel safe to speak to, do you know what I mean? And sometimes it's not even that, but I just feel like the majority of it and it comes back to the fact that, okay, in our community, maybe we don't take it seriously and we think, okay, you know what, you've got mental health, but you're fine. Everyone else, you know, we all have mental health issues. We're all fine. Just wake up, go to sleep, and, you know, get over it. Pray and get over it.
There's a lot of things around prayer. Most of my posts, I get people saying, people just need to give their life to God. You just need to pray more, and all of these things, they come from the enemy. I believe it. Of course, the devil always has a part to play in certain things that we do, and, you know, he will try and poison your mind and poison your thoughts. But mental health exists. Mental health and believing in God are two things that can both exist in the same way.
Coexist, right?
Yeah.
So for me, just to conclude on that, it's like, so if you have a family or like people around you that don't support you, or even like, you know, don't acknowledge what you're going through, you can seek out support from everywhere else, but you will always, because that's shapes who you are, right? And you're always going to seek support from, you know, or acknowledgement from people around you. You might not say it out loud. For example, like, you know, it could be like, okay, you know, why is my family not supporting me in certain things? You might not say it, but you're going to internalize it. and that will then manifest in how you behave. Do you understand? So,
can I add on to that? Mental health in children, teenage girls going to school, and sometimes, just going back to, some of the, because sometimes not only just what's happening within the family home, it's like what's happening outside. Sorry, I'm going to lose my voice.
Yeah, I was about to say that louder.
Oh gosh, I was so scared today that I wouldn't be able to talk.
Probably need some water, sis. Get some water.
But what's happening outside in schools and stuff like that. Even within my home, I've got 2 teenage daughters, and as a parent, it's very important for me to actually recognize the signs.
Yeah.
You've got young girls who are very impressionable. They're learning quite a lot of things from social media as well as school.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't want to actually go in deep with this, but one of my daughters basically I had to remove her of school, because she was going through a traumatic time, and you could see that some of the issues, most of the issues that she was experiencing at the time were because of things that were happening at school, racism being one of them, and that had a significant impact on her mental health. I removed her out of school. She was off school now for a year where I was just homeschooling her at home. And we worked on, the anxiety symptoms at home. And I think, going back to your point that it's very important for you to feel that you've got people around you that you can trust, and for me, in my household, I promote like open conversation.
Yeah. Right.
Whatever it is, we'll talk about it. Because I think as an African child as well, growing up in an African home, we were always told that children shouldn't be talking amongst adults.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with this.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that I've never really agreed on that. And I remember speaking to my auntie as well. She said a lot of young girls, right, they experience rape, sexual abuse, and then they're told you can't tell, or you can't, they don't even feel safe enough to go and speak to an adult because we grew up in an environment where we're told, well, you can't actually open up.
Things,
you can't open up. And those are some of the barriers to mental health, I feel that, because if we're promoting safe environments within our family homes, children are being allowed to express themselves. Because most of it as well is childhood trauma.
It is.
That then causes a lot of issues when we're now grown adults. You know what I mean? But just going back to what I do, I try and, dish it out what's going on. And sometimes you can see the signs that your child is getting withdrawn. You know what I mean? They are on their phones a lot. They just spend so much time in their bedroom. And it's like, so what, 3 months ago, we used to sit down and eat together as a family. Changed? So what's changed? What's going on?
And you know what? I was just going to give you your flowers because it takes a present parent to notice that something is going on with my child. Kudos to you. You were able to, I'm sure your daughter would have told you I'm being bullied at school and this is happening. Some parents there are too busy either working, they've got shift work, they've got their own stresses happening to notice that something has changed with my child. Especially things like that. A child being on the phone all the time, a child locking themselves in their room, or maybe even having an eating disorder situation where they'll eat, anger situations,
anger issues.
It's knowing my daughter has changed the way she's behaving. She's more angry now, or she's dressing a certain way, or she's talking a certain way. So I just want to say well done to you for picking that up. And for also taking it out of school, said, you know what, we will homeschool and we'll also then work on your anxiety and, and your mental health. And I think it takes so much courage. It takes a present parent to be able to do that. Because if you miss it, a child growing between the age of 8 to 15.
And they always say, teenage years, isn't it?
You miss that age, you miss it.
When I tell you I'm actually scared. Not scared, but I'm like, okay, I know it's going to be a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
But I was going to ask, just from what Linda said, so in terms of obviously you said that, you notice, right? So I'm going to ask this, right? So do you think then, because being from the, from Africa and everything, right? And a lot of our parents when they came here, a lot of them were just like constantly working, right?
Yeah.
And because they felt like they didn't have any other way. Do you know what I mean? Like it was like, okay, there's no option, they have to work. So was it so much, you know, where they didn't have a choice, where like they have to work and work and work, and they probably didn't realize. Whereas now, because there's been so much discussions around mental health and awareness, then we're now realizing, actually, do you know what? As much as we were doing that, but that's not all we need to do, because we also, you know, we need to be present. And I think it's that talk of work-life balance, right? Where, like, for me now, it's like, I can use myself as an example where I work from home. I'm able to, you know, for example, go to school and pick my kids up, and also, like, you know, attend the, you know, my daughter, I remember one time she was like, "Mummy, but you don't attend any of my school meetings and stuff." I'm like, "Babe, I've got, you know, I've got to work."
Yeah.
But then I realized, no, but that's not what I'm living for. I'm living for my kids. So if my kids don't remember that I never attended their, you know, even just like going to school meetings, simple thing as school meetings, because I've got to go to work, then what is it? Because I can sit here and say, okay, yeah, I've got to go make money. But if my daughter doesn't remember that I didn't attend any of her school meetings, and when she's got things going on at school, I can't attend because I've got to go to work, then, you know, what, do you know what I mean? Like, I can...
Are you saying that, are you trying to ask, do you then miss things?
Yeah, you miss things. So
like,
then
if you miss the signs.
You miss the signs, because then you would not know. And then I feel like then again, so because of that, and for me personally, when my daughter said, "Oh, Mum, you know, you..." I mean, she's still young, but just from that, you know, from those things that she says to me, I can then see that, you know what, maybe not attending these things, I can't see certain things that's going on. I can't, you know, because one time she then told me that, you know, something's happened at school, and because I was busy, you know, working, I didn't realize until the teacher told me. It's like, "Oh, you were telling me something happened."
Yeah.
And then I was busy working.
Present, yeah.
So I think it's so I just, you know, I think it's really trying to be present, and I think the times that we're in now, we have the opportunity as parents to not be so much in, you know, like just thinking about work. Do you understand? Think about work, but also the work. I think work-life balance as well, you know, supports that really. So
work-life balance is important, and most employers, there's a piece of legislation that's out in April about, obviously, all employers should be supporting employees' well-being. You know what I mean? And work-life balance is very important, and it's like having that flexibility as well. Because imagine the pressure. Even myself, when I was working as a social worker, sometimes you'd say, "Can I finish at 2:30 because I've got to go and pick up my daughters from school at 3?" And you'll be told, "No, you can't," because obviously, you know, it really depended on where I worked.
Right.
Sometimes it's like work itself is very stressful, you know, and we have to obviously consider that as working moms, working parents, work itself is quite stressful. That can have an impact on your mental health because it's like you're juggling your family life and you're also trying to juggle, you know, your work life. So having that work-life balance is very important. But in terms of like your mental health within the workplace as well, you know, it would be good to know, right, what initiatives are out there to support people within the workplace. You know? Yeah.
So you're saying, like, if you have mental health yourself and you're in a workplace, like, what sort of... I think that also starts with being able to freely open up and not having the fear that if I say I'm struggling with this, I'm going to lose my job. Because I don't know if many companies there are that supportive when it comes to that.
And I was going to say that. So then do you have that platform where you can open up? Because sometimes people might feel that, you know what, they don't have a platform. So, do you know what I mean? So where do we start? So is it the platform or is it individuals? And it could be both.
Yeah.
It could be both.
And I think for me, working in as a mental health nurse in NHS anyway, there is so much support for staff and well-being around mental health. Right. Like initially when I lost my sister, I had support from the bereavement team within my trust, which I found really helpful. Yeah. And sometimes, you know, some people out there, they might need to take therapy and sometimes you have to pay. Right. But it's not all therapy that you pay for. But in my workplace, it was easy to just sign up, and within a space of less than a week, I had a therapist that was
let me ask you
me.
this then. Do you think, because obviously you work in that environment, mental health, right? And you know what's there, what help is there. So do you think it's easy then to be accessible? Do you genuinely think that? Or do you think
easy for me to access?
For just general people, like,
Yeah, definitely. Okay. And I think that's another thing that I was going to cover when we were talking, when you were talking about, children and people in our community having mental health issues. What I find out is a lot of people, when we sit here, we've said it, seek help, get support, fine. A lot of people ask you, okay, what does that look like? Where do I go? What I find out is that a lot of people don't actually know where to go to get help. So if you are watching this and you live at home, or you live with your family, or you're 16, you're 18, or you're even older, and you're thinking, you know what, this sounds like me, like I've been hearing voices, or I've been struggling with my mental health, or I'm having very unsafe thoughts, and you're thinking, where do you go? The first place you go is your GP. Literally, I always say to the people, your GP, you can go and just have a conversation.
About
just
anything,
like this.
right? Yeah.
And people will ask you, but what do I say? Just say exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
I haven't slept for a week or 2 weeks, because that's one of the signs that your mental health is taking your dip. Poor sleep. I haven't slept, or for the past 2 weeks, my mood has just been low, or I've been crying nonstop, or I'm having really dark thoughts. Tell your GP what's going on, and no, they're not going to prescribe you medication, because a lot of people always think as soon as you go and see, a GP or a mental health professional, they're going to give you medication and it's going to, no, they will talk to you around your options. And if they feel like you need to be supported more closely with a specific team, then you get referred to a mental health team. And again, you can still access these services without your family knowing. You can still have appointment with this mental health team, going to their offices, going to their clinics, seeing them and getting that support. And sometimes if you're in a crisis where you feel like, actually, I don't feel safe right now, I feel like I'm going to hurt myself or hurt somebody else, you can literally walk into A&E.
And then
just walk into A&E, and you're seen by the psych liaison team, like a mental health team there that can speak to you and give you that support.
Can I say something though? I feel that a lot of people have got a fear of being sectioned. You know what I mean? Because that's also being put in a hospital. Yeah. And I think that's also one of the things that sometimes people might stop themselves from seeking support because they are just afraid of being, under the Mental Health Act.
Yes. And Linda, that is a real thing. At work, people come in and they see that, they say, I'm going through this, but please, I don't want to be locked up. I don't want to be put... Trust me, it's a whole process before it leads to you being sectioned, before it leads to you being admitted. You have to be at a level where, we feel, or professions, they feel like you are not safe. You are actually a danger. You're a danger to yourself. Yeah. A lot of people, actually, that is a real thing, do not seek help because they're scared, I'm going to be locked up. Yeah. And what people see on social media... doesn't really help. And
I was gonna say, just to add to that, so for me, and I'm sure some people might relate to this, right? As a mom, I was scared initially to seek help because I thought, okay, if I go and ask for help,
what will happen to your children?
I'm incompetent of being a mom.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was my biggest fear, because I was like, and I've heard stories like this where moms feel like, they don't want to seek help because they just feel the first thing is like, okay, social services are going to be involved, know, and I'm going to be transparent and be honest. They were involved, but guess what? It was not what I thought.
Yeah. Were they supportive?
They were very supportive. Yeah. And the first thing is, they're not coming there to take your kids. They want to work with you. And there's a process, right? So you've got, is it the child in need? And then, so you start with that. So they want to work with you and the family, and they want to work with the wider family. And then if that all fails, and it takes time, and then it's only cases are extreme where then it's going to go child protection.
Right.
Do you understand? So for me, so I think it's just really having that awareness and knowing that actually they're not there to take your kids. And they want you to seek support, because if you don't and then something happens, then it could be worse. So for me, so when I got that awareness and, just knowing that actually, no, I would rather them get involved and me seek help as opposed to something bad can happen.
Yeah. And then you won't even be able to take care of your kids
because
anyway.
then it's like, okay, you didn't seek help, and it's just going to complicate things. So I think it's just people knowing that, you know what, it's okay to seek help, and no one is coming after your kids, and by you seeking help, you're protecting your kids, and yourself.
Yeah, but that's also one of the biggest fears why people in our community they don't seek out help.
And I've heard that,
because
honestly,
they feel that their children will be removed from them, and I think it's more of an education thing. Maybe the government, I don't know at this point, but there should be an initiative where maybe people from ethnic minority groups are being taught about this, that it's not about us or social services removing your children from you, but it's about you seeking out support and help. Can I just ask, obviously, because you're a mental health nurse.
We've got a mental health nurse here.
You're a mental health nurse.
So what do we do?
What do you think?
Like the physical symptoms of your mental health issues, because I understand the thoughts and stuff like that. Sometimes you can have invoking thoughts, trying to, or, hearing voices. But then they are also physical symptoms that, because for me personally, when I think about when I have experienced my anxiety and I've gone to the doctors, twice, not doctors, hospital twice.
Right.
This is last year. And I was working quite a lot, with me owning a business and stuff. So I'm working quite a lot. Sometimes I'm not getting enough sleep. Or sometimes I just don't feel sleepy. I just don't want to go to bed or whatever.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where I started experiencing chest pains, And I'm experiencing chest pains. I've got pain on this side of my body. Went to A&E twice, 3 months apart or something like that. And then the doctors did all the physical tests.
Okay.
Your chest is normal. I was feeling tightness around your chest is normal. Your heart is great. Your blood pressure is great. So go home.
Yeah.
That's happened to me twice. The last time when I went to A&E, I went with my mom and dad, and I was like, I'm tired. I just feel like, something is not right. And it wasn't even... and I don't experience any invoking thoughts, but me personally, it's like the physical side, physical symptoms. And I met a doctor from Nigeria, right? And one of the first questions that he asked me was, do you take drugs? And I felt really offended when he asked me this, but obviously I understand that they have to rule things out. And he said, what do you do for a job? And I explained to him, I own a business and, this is what I'm doing and stuff. And that's when he was like, well, you are experiencing stress. So I had not caught on. Even the previous doctors that I seen last year, they didn't even tell me that I was going through a stressful episode. And when he informed me that, I think now obviously he had put something on it that, it's stress, and that stress is causing the anxiety. That's when I just started, wanting to seek help.
Right.
But does that happen a lot?
That happens a lot. And it's good that, the practitioner that you saw was able to pick up that actually it's the stress that's related, because a lot of people, they will have these physical symptoms and then they will go and do checks and then they'll be told everything is normal. And then because they feel no, everything is not normal because I'm experiencing, palpitations, I'm experiencing poor sleep, I can't sleep, so I've got a headache, my head has been hurting me. And then when a professional sits down and asks you, have you been sleeping? No, I haven't been sleeping that much. Oh, okay. So this explains, the headaches. So also you're not sleeping. This explains your poor concentration at work. You can't focus. Oh, you're worried that you haven't slept and you haven't eaten. This then increases your anxiety. So sometimes until you deal with what's happening
there
deep inside, it will flare up. You can't ignore your mental health for too long because it will flare up as physical symptoms. And this is why sometimes for other people it then gets extreme to a point where I can't manage these thoughts, I can't manage this palpitation or this poor sleep, so I'm gonna self-harm. Then it increases to something else. So it definitely happens that some symptoms are not just mental, but they're definitely physical. So it's important to just be in tune with yourself. If something changes, and I always say this to my patients at work, if you have not slept for more than a week or 2 weeks, hello somebody, you need to go and get help.
And I was gonna ask that, so from what I've heard, it's like obviously sleep. And I was going to ask you, as a mental health, do you hear this, a mental health nurse? Because sleep is like, it's literally like the core of, your being, everything. If you don't sleep, you can't function. You cannot function. You're stressed out. And a lot of people, and one thing, and especially like business owners, right? I don't know if you know this, Linda or Primrose, where because you own a business, you literally just want to work 24/7.
Right.
You don't, because if you feel like you're sleeping, you're not doing enough, right? So it's like, okay, no, I'm working, I'm gonna sleep when the money comes in, and but you have to remember, sleep is so important. You have to prioritize your sleep, guys. Honestly, if you don't sleep, and because we think sleep is like, it's so irrelevant, but it's literally the core of everything. Because it's like, if your brain is not shut down, your brain is going to be overloaded.
Yeah, of course.
And you won't realize. That's when you start having these thoughts. That's when you start, you can't function. You start having, heart attack, whatever it is, right? It's because your brain is not shutting down.
It's overloaded.
So this is why I like sleep for me. And I remember for me, when I went through my episode, it's like I went 2 weeks without sleeping. And literally, guys, like 2 weeks. Where I
no wink at all, like
literally I was like, so it's like I was sleeping, so when you go to sleep, but it's like you're just there, your brain is not shutting down. So I'm sleeping, but my brain is not shutting down to a point where I started having hallucinations, and it's like I can't. And they literally were like, okay, you know what? Yeah, something needs to be done. Do you understand? So this is why
baby was so young then.
She's like 3 months or something.
So young.
So this is why it's so important, because when you don't have sleep, it's just gonna mess up everything. You can't. You're functioning, even your thinking, your thought process is gonna completely change.
That's what.
And we undermine that. We undermine that so much.
That's literally one of the things that I had to change. Because I would be up at 5. Sometimes I'm going to bed at like 2-3 in the morning, and then I'm getting like 3 hours sleep or 4 hours sleep. And that's one thing that I had to change. And like from changing my sleeping pattern. Things are getting better.
And also physical exercise. And we're not talking going to the gym and lifting weights. Just like going out for a walk. If you feel like
fresh air,
overwhelmed, it doesn't have to be to this high extent of what we're talking about when you're experiencing a psychotic episode or whatever. But if you're feeling quite overwhelmed or quite stressed, whether it's work, university, job, marriage, relationship, money, whatever it is, sometimes just removing yourself from the environment that you're in and going out for a walk or just going to a different environment, it helps, so things like being very intentional with your physical health, also just watching what you're eating, like sometimes people feel like I'm feeling overwhelmed, so I'm gonna pick up alcohol, that can that makes it worse, isn't it? That can help for a little while, but then in the long run it doesn't help. And if it all fails, if you feel like you've done everything that we've listed, you've spoken to family members, you've tried to manage your sleep, you've exercised, and you've tried, and if it all fails, please go and speak to a mental profession and then look at your options. And yes, sometimes you might need to go on on medication, and sometimes you might not. Sometimes maybe you just need therapy, and I think in our community there's a lot of people that are isolated, that are lonely. Loneliness is another thing that causes mental health deterioration among people, because people, all they're doing is going to work, come home, they don't have friends, they don't have any functions, they don't have anything to look forward to. So, and just connect with people in your community as well, which I think will help. So, I think this has been really good. I was just going to ask,
very insightful.
Just to round it up, what is something that you would give? What advice can you give to somebody that might be watching this, that's probably been struggling with their mental health, or that feel like I don't know where to start? What was one word of advice would you give them?
So I'll definitely say, if you and I do recognize that some people might not have people around them, but if you do, even if it's just a friend, family, start with them, speak with them, because I know some people might not feel comfortable to go to the GP because it's like, okay, you know what, they feel exposed, right? they feel exposed. And I'm always going to put myself in that position, because I've been there where I'm like, okay, I don't want to speak to my GP, not just yet, because I feel like, okay, they're going to know too much information. So I understand that. But if you have a trusted friend, just anybody around you that you feel, safe with, speak to that person first. And even like online communities, because now we undermine, just me going back to what I saw on Sis, your post, like just so much people opening up. Do you know what I mean? Like opening up and saying that they don't have people around them, they don't have friends. And you're like, okay, speak to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, so even just opening up, like, online communities. And I think now, because of where we are in the world, where, we have internet, we're able to connect with people all around the world, right? So you can find online communities. You feel like, nobody around you understands. Literally can find online communities, whether it's social media, you can do that and just start speaking to people, start opening up. Yeah. Because when you start doing that, you might not realize, but in that moment you're releasing. Yeah. Right? And then even if you don't want to, like, in that moment, you might be like, you know what, I don't want to seek help, I don't want to whatever. But when you start speaking to somebody, and if that person can just connect with you, just even a small bit, you might feel inclined to, like, actually, do you know what, maybe I should, So start opening up, just literally. Yeah. And it's easy to say that, it's quite cliche to be like, oh yeah, just open up. But I know it's not easy for people, but I would just say, just even if you have one person, just
speak up and reach out.
I'll say that.
I think for me, I definitely echo that as well, because obviously times when I've been highly anxious, I've just leaned more towards my family. Yeah. I feel safe around my family, but then obviously just going back to what you said as well, Kaya, if people don't feel safe or they feel that they don't have anybody that they can talk to, I'm sure that there's some confidential services out there that you can reach out to. Yeah, we're going to put some numbers down below
definitely.
as well.
And if you just type on Google as well, whatever city or borough you're in, especially if you're in the UK, if you put like talking therapy services near me, these are online services where they just do your assessment online, and then you'll be connected to somebody that can help you, probably like on a weekly basis as well.
So sorry, I was going to say, just I forgot, right? So there's in the UK, there's, I don't know if you know this, it's called Shout.
Yeah. So
I remember.
We'll definitely put the links.
Yeah. So I remember. So when I went to, in fact, I was speaking to my GP, and they were asking me at that time what I was going through. I was like, oh, well, they could tell I didn't want to talk, and they're like, okay, there's this number called, I think it was Samaritan actually, not Shout. So they can, confidential. And I didn't really contact them until 2 weeks later, until when I was literally like, okay, I need to speak to somebody. And I remember I just called them. And the way they just speak to you, it's like they just know, they don't even ask your name. If you don't want to, you can just start talking. So it's very confidential. They don't take your details. It's only if you want them to, So it's completely confidential. And I remember I was just talking, and it was like 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
And
they're open.
And I was talking for like an hour. And what was funny as well, not funny, but like what was really nice was like this lady, I think she was Zimbabwe, because she said, oh, Makaya, your name, is it, I was like, yeah, from Zambia. Oh, I'm from Zimbabwe. So we started talking, and we just sat on the phone for literally an hour. Yeah. And before I knew it, I was completely asleep. I didn't realize that I'd cut the phone on her, and I went to sleep. And I woke up in the morning.
She did a great job.
Yeah, so you have different services that you can, whether it's anonymous, you don't have to, so there's completely, there's so much, help there.
Yeah, so we've got, what have we got coming up, Rose?
I know, it's just like, okay, so anyway, so that's been it. So thank you guys for watching, and I think I just wanted to wrap up by saying that, like, if this episode has really connected with you, we just want to let you know that you are not alone. I know you might be in your own home or space and you feel like there's no support, but I promise you there is support there. We will definitely link some of the services that we've spoken about in the description box below, and be sure to check them out. But I think we can wrap up this episode.
So you also have an event coming up. Do you want to share about that?
Yeah. That's what I was trying to hint.
That's very important.
Like, what have we got coming up?
Happening.
Oh God. Okay, guys. So on that note, I do have an event coming up with the Kudzi Foundation on the 22nd of August,
Yeah.
1 p.m. in South London. We have a mental health wellbeing sip and paint event. So if you're interested, we will definitely put the link in the description below, and then you can get yourself a ticket. It's going to be a really good event to, you know, connect, express yourself, and, you know, if you want to come, if you want to share something, it will be great to see you there. So yeah, thank you guys for reminding me.
And I was like, sis, you've got something coming up.
You know what I mean?
I'm really looking forward to that, and I think
it's gonna be really amazing.
And I
can't wait to see it.
this is something that I always say, like, losing my sister really like broke me, but I also appreciate that God has given me the strength to use this pain, you know, for a purpose. And I know that God has a purpose. Oh God, I don't want to cry.
Don't cry.
But you know what, sis? Your platform. You have to remember your platform. You're using your platform for good, because the amount of people, and I'm always gonna just, you know, commend you from just how people open up on your platform. And I'm just like, wow,
really nice.
Because you don't know what these people are going through, and even just speaking to you, they're literally, you're changing their lives. So you should be proud, and you should be, and I know Kudzi would be, you know, proud of you as well.
Of course.
I know Kudzi's probably proud.
This is the biggest purpose.
She's probably watching this and saying, girl,
relax.
but yeah, I just want to say rest in peace to my sister, and thank you guys for being here with me. Like,
love
this
you.
episode was going to be
we love you.
Thank you, and thank you guys for watching. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you guys in our next episode.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys.
What they gon' say? With the top down, screaming money, anything. We up till 6.